Okay, so today we're going to talk about domain, range, and end behavior. So the domain of a graph is basically what's happening to all of your x values. So the domain is all the x values, or what's happening from left to right. Okay, range is all your y values, or what's happening from down to up. Okay, and end behavior is talking about what your y value is doing as you go to the end of the domain. So all the way to the end of, or to the negative end of the x values, what's the y value doing? And all the way to the positive end of your x values, what's the y value doing? So let's look at an example of that. So if we look at this one right here, so let's zoom in here a little bit. Okay, so we have a graph that is, and these should have arrows at the end, that goes up and then comes back down. So if we think about the domain, all the x values, if it keeps going this way, it's still going to the left forever, right? And when it keeps going this way, it's going to the right forever. So if we use interval notation, I don't know what it's trying to say there. It would be going from negative infinity to positive infinity. And we just have that with parentheses, right? Interval notation is always least number, greatest number. And anything that's a line that's continuous, that includes all the points in between all these different intersections, we use interval notation. That way we don't have to write each individual point, because we wouldn't be able to, because it's infinite, right? Range, same idea, but we're looking at the y values. So we're looking at what's the least y value. Well, if it keeps going down, it would be negative infinity on the y-axis, right? But it looks like our y values cap out right here at 3. So positive 3 on the y-axis. So infinity would have a parenthesis, but it caps out at 3, so that would technically have a square bracket. Okay? End behavior as x goes to positive infinity, my y values are going to negative infinity, right? So it'd be negative infinity. As x goes to negative infinity, so to the left, my y values are going to negative infinity. And that is basically all you're doing for domain and range. Let me do one more just to make sure we got it. So let's look at this one. Domain, it starts right here and goes over, so it's not going to negative infinity, right? The least x value would be positive 2. But then it does go off to positive infinity. Okay, so the 2, because it does equal 2 has a square bracket, infinity has a parenthesis. Range looks like the greatest y value would be 1. So 1 to positive infinity, because it's going up forever. Now end behavior, as x goes to positive infinity, y is also going to positive infinity. As x goes to 2, because that's where my line starts, right? My y value would be 1. And that's basically all you're doing for domain and range.